Most people lose before the game even begins, not because they are weak, not because they are stupid, not because they lack talent. They lose because they reveal too much, react too fast, and trust too easily. Let that sink in. You are not being defeated by life. You are being read. People read your emotions. They read your need for approval. They read your silence when it is fear, and your words when they are insecurity. They read what you chase. They read what you cannot walk away from. They read the exact point where pressure makes you break. And once a person can read you, they can influence you. Once they can influence you, they can position you. Once they can position you, they can make you believe the decision was yours. This is why Machiavelli never trusted appearances. He understood something most people are too innocent to accept. Human beings do not always show you what they are. They show you what benefits them. They show you loyalty when loyalty gives them access. They show you kindness when kindness gives them leverage. They show you honesty when honesty is convenient. They show you support when your success does not threaten them. But the moment pressure enters the room, masks begin to crack. The clever man does not panic when this happens. He observes. He does not chase explanations. He watches patterns. He does not believe every promise. He waits for proof. He does not speak to be understood. He stays silent to understand. By the end of this video, you will learn how to think sharper, speak less, read people better, control your emotions, and move through life with the kind of quiet advantage most people never develop. This is not about becoming paranoid. Paranoia is fear. This is about becoming precise. Precision is power. Before we begin, drop this affirmation in the comments. Eyes open, mouth closed, mind sharp. Number 1, stop trusting words before patterns. Most people are deceived because they fall in love with words, a promise, a compliment, an apology, a beautiful explanation, a sentence that sounds honest. And suddenly, their judgment becomes soft. They hear what they want to hear, and they ignore what the pattern already proved. That is how people get trapped, not because the truth was hidden, but because the truth was uncomfortable. A person says they respect you, but keeps crossing your boundaries. A person says they support you, but becomes quiet every time you win. A person says they are loyal, but disappears when loyalty becomes inconvenient. A person says they changed, but the same behavior keeps returning with better excuses. Weak people listen to words and hope. Strategic people watch patterns and decide. Machiavelli understood that words are tools. People use them to comfort you, to confuse you, to delay you, to disarm you, to make you feel guilty for noticing what their behavior already revealed. This is why you must stop giving words more authority than actions. Words can be rehearsed, behavior eventually leaks. Words can be polished, patterns remain. Words can be emotional. Consistency is harder to fake. Stay unreadable. Stay sharp. A controlled man does not become cruel. He simply becomes slower to trust. He hears the promise, but watches the follow-through. He hears the apology, but watches the correction. He hears the loyalty, but watches the pressure. He hears the love, but watches the sacrifice. Because real character does not live in speeches. It lives in repeated behavior. Watch how people act when they gain nothing from you. Watch how they act when you say no. Watch how they act when you stop being useful. Watch how they act when they are no longer being watched. That is where the truth appears. Most people miss this because they are emotionally hungry. They want the words to be real. They want the apology to be enough. They want the compliment to mean respect. They want the promise to erase the pattern. But reality does not care what you want. Reality records behavior. And if you want to win more, you must stop trusting faster than reality has spoken. Do not be impressed by what people say when the moment is easy. Be convinced by what they repeat when the moment becomes costly. A man who judges by words becomes emotional property. A man who judges by patterns becomes difficult to deceive. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I trust patterns, not promises. Number 2, study motives. Before you respond, Most people respond to behavior too quickly. Someone is kind and they trust. Someone is cold and they panic. Someone flatters them and they open up. Someone criticizes them and they defend themselves. They react to the surface because they never ask the deeper question. Why is this happening? That question changes everything. A strategist does not only ask, "What did they do?" He asks, "What do they gain?" That is where intelligence begins. Because human behavior is rarely random, people move toward advantage. They move toward comfort. They move toward control. They move toward validation. They move toward what protects their image. They move toward what feeds their desire. This does not make everyone evil. It makes them human. And Machiavelli understood human nature without decoration. People often hide their real motives behind acceptable language. Control becomes concern. Jealousy becomes advice. Manipulation becomes care. Insecurity becomes criticism. Self-interest becomes generosity. A person may warn you because they genuinely care, or they may warn you because your growth makes them feel smaller. A person may offer help because they value you, or because they want access. A person may praise you because they admire you, or because flattery is the door they use to enter your mind. You must learn to see the layer beneath the layer. This is not paranoia. This is disciplined observation. Paranoia assumes danger everywhere. Observation waits for evidence. The weak man reacts to what is presented. The sharp man studies what is hidden. Before you respond, pause. Ask yourself, what does this person want? What do they gain if I believe them? What do they gain if I react emotionally? What do they gain if I feel guilty? What do they gain if I explain myself? What do they gain if I stay attached? This pause protects you. Because manipulation often depends on speed. They want you to react before you think. They want you emotional before you observe. They want you defensive before you question. They want you guilty before you see the motive. Slow down. Make people wait while your mind studies the room. A dangerous man is not the loudest man. He is the man who sees the motive before he answers. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I study motives before I move. Number 3, control your emotions before you judge. Your emotions can be real and still be unreliable. Remember that. Anger feels clear and absolute. Desire feels certain and pure. Fear feels urgent. Attachment feels like truth. But emotion is not always intelligence. Sometimes emotion is old pain wearing a new mask. Sometimes it is ego. Sometimes it is insecurity. Sometimes it is hunger. Sometimes it is the old identity trying to protect itself from discomfort. This is why emotional people misread life. They do not see what is happening. They see what their wound translates it into. Someone delays a reply and they see rejection. Someone disagrees and they see disrespect. Someone sets a boundary and they see abandonment. Someone criticizes them and they see attack. Now they are no longer judging the situation. They are judging through pain. Machiavelli would tell you that emotional reaction makes you predictable, and predictability is weakness. If people know anger controls you, they will provoke you. If people know guilt controls you, they will pressure you. If people know approval controls you, they will reward and punish you socially. If people know fear controls you, they will build cages around that fear and call it advice. A controlled man understands that emotion must be observed before it is obeyed. He does not deny emotion. He disciplines it. There is a difference. Denying emotion makes you blind. Obeying emotion makes you weak. Observing emotion makes you powerful. When you feel the reaction rising, pause. Do not speak yet. Do not decide yet. Do not explain yet. Do not send the message yet. Do not make the permanent move from a temporary state. Pause, observe, choose. That gap is where power lives. Most people have no gap. Something happens and they react. Someone speaks and they answer. Someone doubts them and they defend. Someone leaves and they chase. Someone disrespects them and they explode. No gap, no control, no strategy. A stoic mind creates distance between the event and the response. The event is outside. The response is yours. The insult is outside. The interpretation is yours. The delay is outside. The panic is yours. The rejection is outside. The collapse is yours. When you master this, people lose easy access to you. They can no longer move you with cheap words. They can no longer purchase your anger with provocation. They can no longer purchase your insecurity with silence. They can no longer purchase your obedience with guilt. You become emotionally expensive, and emotionally expensive people are harder to manipulate. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I judge with control, not emotion. Number 4, listen more than you speak. Most people talk because silence makes them uncomfortable. They speak to prove they are smart. They speak to prove they are confident. They speak to prove they are important. They speak to fill space. They speak to escape the discomfort of being unread. And while they speak, they reveal themselves. Their insecurity leaks. Their need for validation leaks. Their bitterness leaks. Their hidden competition leaks. Their lack of discipline leaks. Their desire for control leaks. Stay unreadable. Stay sharp. A strategist listens. Not because he has nothing to say, because he has too much to observe. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a collection tool. When you are silent, people continue. They add details. They expose contradictions. They reveal what they value. They show where their ego is attached. They show what they fear. They show what they are trying to hide. This is why the person who listens often leaves the room with more power than the person who dominated the conversation. The talker feels seen. The listener gains information. Machiavelli understood that information is power, but most people give it away for free because they cannot control their mouth. They tell people their plans too early. They reveal their frustrations too openly. They confess their insecurities too quickly. They explain their next move before it is protected. They let strangers, friends, co-workers, and hidden competitors see the inside of their mind. Then they wonder why interference appears. Speak less, watch more, let silence stretch. People hate silence because silence pressures them. Many will rush to fill it. And when they fill it, they reveal more than they intended. A controlled man uses this carefully. He does not manipulate people cruelly. He simply stops rescuing them from silence. Let them talk. Let them explain. Let them overplay. Let them contradict themselves. Let them reveal the motive they tried to hide. Your job is not to perform. Your job is to understand. Stay unreadable. Stay sharp. This is golden age vitality. In a world addicted to expression, restraint becomes rare, and rare things carry power. The man who speaks less becomes harder to read. The man who listens more becomes harder to deceive. The man who reveals little forces others to reveal more. That is the quiet advantage. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I speak less and see more. Number 5. Watch people under pressure. Anyone can act noble when life is easy. Comfort creates beautiful masks. People look patient when nothing tests them. They look loyal when loyalty costs nothing. They look disciplined when everything goes their way. They look kind when they have control. But pressure tells the truth. Pressure reveals the person beneath the performance. Watch what happens when people lose. Watch what happens when they are denied. Watch what happens when they are embarrassed. Watch what happens when they do not get what they want. Watch what happens when they are forced to wait. That is where character appears. A person who seems calm may become cruel when frustrated. A person who speaks of loyalty may disappear when loyalty becomes inconvenient. A person who calls themselves disciplined may collapse when comfort is removed. A person who pretends to support you may reveal envy the moment your success becomes visible. Pressure is a mirror, and most people hate mirrors. Stay unreadable. Stay sharp. This is golden age vitality. Machiavelli knew that men are often different in comfort than they are in danger. He studied how people behave when fear, ambition, loss, and uncertainty enter the room, because those forces strip away performance. Under pressure, the weak man blames, the insecure man attacks, the jealous man minimizes, the selfish man abandons, the manipulator becomes urgent. The disciplined man becomes calmer. That is the difference. Do not judge people only by how they behave in peace. Judge them by how they behave when peace is interrupted. How do they handle disagreement? Do they listen or do they punish? How do they handle being told no? Do they respect the boundary or do they test it? How do they handle your growth? Do they support or do they shrink you? How do they handle their own failure? Do they learn or do they look for someone to blame? These moments tell you what words cannot. Stay unreadable. Stay sharp, and do not only watch others, watch yourself. Pressure reveals you too. When you are insulted, what comes out? When you are ignored, what rises? When you are delayed, what breaks? When you are rejected, what story do you tell yourself? When you are afraid, do you become strategic or desperate? Self-control is not proven when life is calm. Self-control is proven when the old reaction is available and you refuse to obey it. That is when the new identity becomes real. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Pressure reveals what words hide. Number 6, protect your plans with silence. Most people fail because they expose the seed before it becomes a tree. They get an idea, they announce it, they tell friends, they hint online, they talk like progress has already happened. And for a moment, they feel powerful, but nothing has been built. They only received emotional reward for speaking. That is dangerous, because the moment you reveal your plan too early, you invite forces that do not belong in the process. Opinions, doubt, jealousy, distraction, expectation, competition, fake support, hidden sabotage. And the plan is still fragile. Your discipline is still young. Your standard is still forming. Your identity is still being rebuilt. Why would you expose it to noise? A strategist protects what is not ready to be seen. Machiavelli would understand this immediately. Never show the move before it is made. When people know your direction, they can position themselves around it. They can interfere. They can discourage. They can copy. They can prepare. They can plant hesitation. They can make you perform instead of execute. Silence keeps the plan clean. Silence keeps the process private. Silence keeps the ego hungry. Silence keeps other people from touching what they do not understand. Weak people announce because they need approval. Strong people execute because they need results. The old version wanted witnesses. The new version wants proof. The old version wanted applause during the process. The new version wants silence until the outcome is undeniable. Let people underestimate you. Let them think you are doing nothing. Let them assume you are the same. Let them relax while you sharpen. Their assumption is useful. While they talk, you build. While they watch others, you improve. While they perform, you prepare. While they explain, you execute. Then your result arrives without warning. That is when perception shifts, not because you begged to be seen, because proof forced recognition. There is power in being unseen while becoming dangerous. There is power in letting the world meet the result, not the plan. There is power in keeping your next move private until it is too late to stop it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my plans with silence. Number 7, detach from approval before it controls you. The need to be liked is one of the quietest chains in the world. It does not feel like weakness at first. It feels like kindness. It feels like being agreeable. It feels like keeping peace. It feels like being a good person. But look closer. How many times did you stay silent because you feared disapproval? How many times did you tolerate disrespect because you wanted to be accepted? How many times did you explain yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you? How many times did you choose comfort for others and betrayal for yourself? Approval is not always harmless. In the wrong hands, it becomes a leash. If someone knows you fear being disliked, they can control your behavior. They can pressure you with disappointment. They can punish you with distance. They can reward you with attention. They can shape you through social fear. This is why Machiavelli would never build power on the need to be loved by everyone. Love is unstable when it depends on convenience. Respect is stronger. Fear of losing approval makes people weak. They bend, they adjust, they shrink. They soften the truth. They tolerate what they should reject. They become easy to manage because their identity depends on reaction. A controlled man detaches, not because he hates people, because he refuses to be owned by their opinion. He can be kind without being weak. He can be respectful without being submissive. He can listen without obeying. He can stand alone without collapsing. This is emotional detachment. You stop needing every room to accept you. You stop needing every person to understand you. You stop needing every decision to be approved. You stop treating dislike like danger. Some people will dislike you because you changed. Good. Some people will misunderstand your silence. Let them. Some people will call your boundaries cold. Let them. Some people will resent your growth because it exposes their stagnation. Let them. Your job is not to be approved by everyone. Your job is to become impossible to control through approval. The moment you detach from being liked, your judgment sharpens. You see people more clearly. You choose more honestly. You speak less from fear. You move more from principle. The man who needs approval asks, "Will they like this?" The man with self-control asks, "Is this aligned with my standard?" That difference changes your life. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Approval does not own me. Number 8. Read envy before it becomes sabotage. Envy rarely announces itself. It does not say, "I hate that you are improving." It does not say, "Your success makes me feel small." It does not say, "I want you close, but not above me." Envy hides. It hides behind jokes. It hides behind advice. It hides behind fake concern. It hides behind silence when you win. It hides behind sudden distance when your life gets better. It hides behind small comments designed to shrink what you achieved. This is why you must become observant, not paranoid, observant. Because envy can exist close to you, in friendships, in family, in co-workers, in people who smiled when you were struggling but became uncomfortable when you started rising. Machiavelli understood comparison. People do not only judge you by who you are, they judge you by what your rise says about them. Your discipline reminds them of their excuses. Your improvement reminds them of their delay. Your courage reminds them of their fear. Your silence reminds them of their noise. Your results remind them of what they avoided. And some people cannot handle that mirror, so they try to reduce you. They make jokes about your ambition. They question your goals with fake concern. They change the subject when you win. They become supportive only when you are losing. They compete when you are not competing. They offer advice that quietly pulls you back toward comfort. Pay attention. Envy leaves fingerprints. It appears in the energy shift after your success. It appears in the coldness after your progress. It appears in the sarcasm after your confidence. It appears in the people who clap softly when life finally starts rewarding you. A controlled man does not hate them. He simply adjusts access. He stops sharing sensitive plans with envious people. He stops expecting celebration from those who feel threatened. He stops confusing proximity with loyalty. He stops giving his future to people who are secretly more comfortable with his weakness. This is important. Do not announce that you see their envy. That is amateur behavior. Do not confront every hidden resentment. Do not create drama. Do not beg them to admit what they are hiding. Just observe, then move differently. Access lower, information lower, emotional investment lower, distance higher. That is strategy. The old version wanted everyone to celebrate. The new version understands that not everyone can. The old version was hurt by envy. The new version uses envy as information. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I see envy and move in silence. Number 9. Become unreadable, then unstoppable. The easiest person to control is the person who reveals everything. His face reveals anger, his voice reveals fear, his words reveal insecurity. His speed reveals desperation, his explanations reveal guilt, his reactions reveal the exact buttons people can press. He thinks he is being authentic, but he is being exposed. Authenticity without control becomes vulnerability. A powerful man does not reveal every internal movement. He feels, but he does not leak. He thinks, but he does not announce. He observes, but he does not react. He decides what is visible. That is self-control. That is strategic presence. That is how you become unreadable. Most people are easy to read because they react instantly. They cannot hold silence. They cannot hold tension. They cannot hold judgment. They cannot sit with discomfort without releasing words, so they give themselves away. Stay controlled. Stay unreadable. A controlled man is different. He lets silence work. He lets pressure pass through his body before choosing a response. He lets people wonder what he thinks. He lets others reveal themselves first. He does not rush to be known. He does not rush to be liked. He does not rush to correct every assumption. He understands that mystery is about controlling information. Machiavelli would say that perception is a battlefield. If people can predict every move, you have surrendered your advantage. If they can predict your anger, they will provoke it. If they can predict your hunger for approval, they will control you whenever they want. Stay unreadable. So become harder to read, not fake, disciplined. Slow your reactions. Reduce unnecessary explanations. Stop broadcasting emotional states. Keep your plans private. Let your actions speak after they are complete. Let your standards be felt more than announced. Let your calm become uncomfortable to people who expected chaos. The old identity needed to be seen. The new identity chooses what is revealed. The old identity reacted to be understood. The new identity observes to remain in control. The old identity was predictable. The new identity is precise. This is how you win more. Not by shouting, not by proving. Thinking sharply, staying silent. A man who cannot be read cannot be easily led. A man who cannot be easily led becomes difficult to defeat. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unreadable and in control. Now connect everything. This video was not about becoming cold. It was about precision. Because most people lose through carelessness. They trust words before patterns. They react before observing motives. They speak before listening. They ignore pressure. They expose plans too early. Machiavelli would say that human nature rewards the observant and punishes the naive. The world does not need you to be paranoid. It needs you to be awake. Awake to behavior, awake to motives, awake to envy, awake to your own reactions. The sharp man does not move through life loudly. He watches. He listens. He studies. He waits. He controls himself before trying to control anything else. That is the foundation. Because if your emotions control you, people can control you. If your need for approval controls you, people can control you. If your words expose you, people can control you. If your plans are public too early, people can interfere before the result is strong enough to stand. So from this moment forward, change the way you move, speak less, observe more, trust slower, react later, reveal less, detach from approval, protect your plans, study pressure, let patterns speak before you believe words. This is not weakness. This is strategy. This is not fear. This is awareness. This is not silence because you have nothing to say. This is silence because you are collecting power. Before you leave, ask yourself one question. Where have you been too easy to read? Your anger, your fear, your attachment, your need to explain, your habit of speaking before thinking? Find it, control it, because that is the opening people have been using. If this video made you see yourself more clearly, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to stop being predictable. Subscribe if you are here to sharpen your mind and move through the world with more control. And before you go, drop this final affirmation. Eyes open, mouth closed, mind sharp. Stay silent, stay sharp.